as AU displayed. Any good Chen player is having a very good time in this current meta.
Yeah, I think Polaris didn't have first pick, so they had to take it out and just prevent NGX from trying to pick it up. Interesting to see that NGX is actually focusing in on just this mishmash. Like, they take out the Void, preventing that from coming out for Natsumi. They also take out the Storm, preventing that from coming out for Lelouch. He still has a couple of specials up here. Leshrac comes into mind. It's something Lelouch definitely loves on mid. Still has some high mobility heroes left that you don't really lock in too well. Ember could be one way, although against Batrider it's fairly annoying. You probably don't want to try to Void Spirit versus Batrider, because we all know how that mostly ends up. Alacrity would know how to kind of run down the Void Spirit there as well. And they respect ban the Pangolier that Lelouch showed off. He did have a really good lane against the Batrider in that hero. So again, just making sure Alacrity has a much better time on mid to kind of set up for his team to kind of get that strong start. Good sign from NGX. We just need to see how they build this foundation up.
Well, here we go. NGX.Sea, the ones to make their third pick first. See what they want to go with this one. Maybe just another support to be picked up here. Do seem like they need a bit of a pos 5. Obviously, the Shaker generally position 4, and they'll go for a Shadow Demon. Something you don't see very often. Sort of, I suppose, a support that's coming back into the meta right now, especially against heroes like Marcy, who has that natural displacement with Dispose. Of course, the Disruption can be very, very effective against heroes like that. Not to mention, I suppose with the new spell that he has, if you were to group them up and get the spell off with an Echo Slam, that would be pretty funny. You know, basically Fatal Bonds. Kind of better in terms of the damage output if you had everyone together.
Yeah, it can line up. That's one way to kind of get that damage done. Shadow Demon hasn't had the best run. I think it only showed up one other time in these qualifiers. I believe that was in China. Didn't quite work out. So, keen to see if NGX can make that work. It feels like there was a time when it was on the up and up. I think when that's when they removed the charges as a requisite, and they gave the Demonic Purge onto the shards. That felt like the moment we saw a little bit more of the Shadow Demon, and then people just kind of avoided it again because of the shift in meta. Like, healing supports were a higher priority. The save coming out from the Shadow Demon is still good, but this will require NGX to play on point as a team. Like, they've got to coordinate really well, and Polaris have shown us that they coordinate fantastically together. So they've got to be able to break that coordination down from Polaris, kind of force them to clump up and play with that synergy with the Shaker and the Shadow Demon now, and just, kind of run down. Seeing the support duo though, Polaris has a chance to kind of lock in their 5 here if they want for AU. Maybe just go into their mid or safe lane pick if they wanted to, as I am expecting Force to play that DP as he tends to. They go to the Oracle, which is actually a pretty nice way to just cancel off what the Shadow Demon might want to do. You've got a good save up against the Batrider now. Last time they were relying on the Venge swaps. This time, just Oracle alone is going to get that done. So it's a great way of just cutting off that game for Alacrity.
The Oracle obviously very annoying against the Batrider. Also have the option for like an Abaddon, but Oracle just seems a little bit stronger in this current meta, that's for sure. Polaris, 4th pickup now. More calls to be had on their side of things. Maybe just reveal the carry, don't reveal where the DP is going. Perhaps because the DP can be flexed in the mid or off lane. And they'll go for the Luna pickup. Fair enough. Ironically, one of In Your Dreams favorite heroes coming out here for the side of Polaris Esports. So, Natsumi. Going to be trying to show In Your Dream how to play the Luna. And again, with that pos 1 pickup, you don't really reveal who's going mid or who's going off lane, because the DP can be flexed very nicely here by Polaris.
Still has room to change around. I'm surprised they pick Luna into Shadow Demon. You've got a good hero to kind of steal off and just turn into illusions for your team. Although, for that to ramp up, it does take a lot of farm the Luna. At that point, you probably don't want the Luna to be that farmed anyway, where illusions are that effective for you. Still a nice synergy coming out for NGX to kind of work against. Keen to see how they respond. Like, seeing the Luna should allow them some off-lane picks here. Maybe something like a Mars fits in for Mizu as the activity maker. You've got the setup with Shadow Demon, even some setup out from the Shaker as well. So a Mizu Mars wouldn't be too bad up against Luna. What else comes out? Maybe a bit left field. Centaur could be a nice way of charging in or disengaging from Luna as well, although, again, not the highest priority here to pick up. We'll never see the Ags build up at this rate as well. But could be a couple of ways to go if they wanted to.
Still thinking about it here. 35 seconds reserve time left here for NGX.Sea.
Dire team back.
Really having a think. They go for the Mars. Polaris Esports now back into the ban phase for themselves.
Radiant team
Yeah, just focusing the position ones now that In Your Dream would like to pick up. Actually getting rid of the pos 1 Pudge. That's always fair enough, the Pudge. One of those pos 1s that, in the right hands, it just feels so busted. They just don't want to deal with this game. Just get rid of it. Not today.
Yeah, it has some strong combinations. You can, again, set up with a Shaker for that. Spear follow-up is fairly easy. NGX has a lot of room to just ban out mids that they feel is favorable against Batrider. Puck is certainly one of those. Going back to Mars again, it's just something that enables Mizu to be aggressive. You have a setup with Shaker and with Shadow Demon, so either lane is going to feel pretty good. And just allows more play from the offlane. That was something that was lacking from the Underlord. It doesn't really set up the fights and just kind of carries for your team in that sense. The Mars does that job a little bit better here. Terrorblade banned out as well, preventing the In Your Dream specials. Also a really nice pick up against Luna, of course, when you get the reflection off. You do just whittle down your own team. So just kind of taking away some big options there. And Visage being banned out as well. So they are respecting the flex on the DP, thinking that, okay, we could still have a mid, we could still have an offlane slide out. Gonna have to ban an option from boat. What Nico here is left here? Fairly hard to say because you don't know your safe lane matchup. So you do have the slight edge there in NGX.
5 seconds remaining.
And you do have stuff like, say, Tide has popped out here and there. It can kind of fit in with this lineup. Does give you really good control. It gives you here that has self-dispel, so you don't care too much about the hold coming out from the side of NGX. And that allows the Oracle to kind of focus on the mid and offlane picks. They go to Quap instead. So there is still a little bit of flex, but that should be our mid coming out here for Lelouch. Although, again, there's some flex there. You could still run DP mid, but the Quap does feel like it has a better time overall.
Let's see.
10 seconds remaining.
NGX, pos 1 necessary. You do have, you don't have the TB anymore. What else have you got? Not the greatest options left here, like Lifestealer, Jug, you know, your standard, even with the Troll there as well, if you want to go down that route. They go down the Ursa route instead. Fair enough. Could be a little bit rough, though. It does feel like Ursa does get kited quite a lot in this kind of game. So many ways of locking him down and more so slowing him up. Let's see how it pans out. It's going to be an interesting game here. Of course, NGX.Sea backs against the wall. Jonathan, what's so funny?
Nah, I just like seeing Winter in the background there. Does his job, gets away. He's done his part. And no. Witty Ursa to close out, as you said, damn, it does have some play here. I feel like it's going to be a pretty hard Ursa game. Just with the Oracle. Like, you have a disarm on hand, you have a save on hand here for Polaris to play with. And for the side of NGX, kind of catching that back line is going to be a bit tough. It does look like we might have to remake here. I see lobby chat that something has to happen here. So we do have to... Yeah, it looks like we have a bug. Not sure just yet. I don't see anyone else disconnecting, but there is an issue with a reconnection. So gonna be stuck here, just admiring our draft a little bit longer, Mikey.
And admiring the beautiful faces of Polaris here. A bunch of handsome lads here on the side of Polaris. Of course, NGX.Sea, even more handsome, I'd say, Jonathan. We'll see if we are going to have to reconnect this, or rather remake this lobby. We'll just wait out and see what the admins have to say. See if we can get that reconnection going, though. Still, John, can you give me an outright winner for these drafts? Do you think it goes one way or the other?
I think it favors Polaris. I think they've got good saves, good ways of kiting around the Ursa. NGX do have a little bit more activity, but it does feel like if Polaris get off to that running start, they're going to be able to outfarm. Like, they've got Natsumi, another big farming hero. He loves his big farming heroes. We saw his Naga, the Luna's one of those heroes, the Dusa is the one that really comes to mind. And I think if NGX doesn't contest that, then it's going to be tough. It does look like we have the disconnects coming, so should have that remake going to be lined up relatively soon. And yeah, we will have to remake because of the bug. So just a moment before we get back in. But yeah, Polaris' draft does look a lot stronger to me, Mike. I just like the farm. I think if Natsumi can just farm up as he wants, then you have a pretty good game lined up for Polaris.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a fun game number 2, I'm very, very sure. And we'll see if Polaris can pull off the victory once again. It was quite a dominant game number 1. We'll see if it happens again for game number 2. Of course, for any NGX.Sea fans out there, if they weren't able to pull off this game to victory, they are still safe in the sense that they are going to be knocked down to the lower bracket. So there is the safety net of the lower bracket here for the losing team, as we did just have a glimpse of Winter once again in the background. Winter, our tech support specialist here, sorting out the PCs for the boys at NGX.Sea. Speaking of Winter, Jonathan, naturally, if people don't know, Winter, he loves his fish. He's a fishman, Jonathan. Loves his fish. He's corrected me multiple times during our trip at Malaysia, telling me that he likes bowler fish and not goldfish. I think he's lying, Jonathan. I think they're both the same thing. Goldfish, bowlerfish. Well, what's the difference? Yeah. So if you did want some fish out there, that's the man to contact. Winter. He sells fish.
Yeah, that he does. And should give him a shout out if you are in Malaysia, of course. Check him out for his fishies.
Yeah.
Our good old aquaculture man himself. Back
Yeah.
to coaching. Good to see. I miss Winter. He's a fun guy to hang out with. Very chill.
With that, looks like we will be heading into game number 2 very, very soon. What else is there to say, Jonathan? Should we talk about the rest of the games going on today while we have this this pause going on? Like
I'm actually curious because it looks like are we doing a redraft? Because it's still in captain's mode. The teams are talking about their previous bans, which shouldn't matter unless it should be the same, right? We did run through drafts, so it's just like a technicality thing, I suppose. As you were saying, Mike?
Yeah, I was going to say we should elaborate on what you just said, John. It seems like we're just kind of following the rule book here, just making sure that I suppose it's within the rules that it has to be captain's mode if we're going to remake as well. So fair enough. Going back to what I was saying, Jonathan, our other series on tonight as well, pretty hype series coming up. Of course, EU's also on tonight, so people are going to have a few issues trying to decide what games to watch because there's just so much action-packed Dota going on here today. But after this, of course, you are going to have RSG against Neon. And, of course, straight after that, the big one that everyone's been waiting for, Execration against the new T1. Everyone wants to know if this Thompson Anna duo in T1's going to work out. John, what are you thinking about that? How do you feel about that roster switch up? Do you feel like it's going to work?
I think kicking out Carl is pretty poor, honestly.
Poor?
Like, the guy performed for the entire year. Maybe a little bit on and off, but he certainly didn't feel like the issue. I get why you get On and Thompson together. It's a package deal. But Carl, I mean, he's not playing anymore, so I feel for the guy. You know,
Right.
I don't know if T1's had enough time to train up, and they have spent a lot of time boot camping since this roster shakeup. Again, they've already played with Anna before for at least 2 weeks, 1 week, if I recall right, for their trial period. So maybe I think Execration's the one that bugs me more. Like, I feel like Execration's such a 50-50 team. At their best, they look like a really strong team. At their worst, they look really floppy. So
Right.
that one's probably down more as to whether or not Execration plays to their best ability or if they just kind of don't. And if they don't, T1's going to have a pretty smooth ride. I think T1 at their medium is way better than Execration at their worst for sure. And Execration at their best meets or matches T1 at their middling state. So it is T1 favored, but I would expect Execration to put up a pretty damn good fight because, again, they also look pretty revitalized in the ESL qualifiers, which, you know, we also saw Polaris be really revitalized. We saw TNC be revitalized, but with a different roster, and, you know, didn't quite show up today as well.
Yeah, it happens. It does happen. I'm a T1 believer, Jonathan. I think it might work out this new roster. It's a bit complicated though. It's hard to say, isn't it? Until we see it a couple times. Even like after one series, you're still gonna have questions, right? Like against Execration, like you said, it's either they look really good or they don't look good at all, right? It's like a 50-50 toss up with Execration. So it's even after this series, it's kind of like, yeah, we're gonna have to see them up against I don't want to say more challenging team, but a more consistent team is what I would say. And, that's assuming they win, right? Again, because Execration, if they show up today, T1 might go lower bracket. You never know.
Yeah, they could have a pretty good run in the lower bracket, though. I can see that happening, but I don't know. It's so hard to tell with a roster that just shakes up like that. With T1, I feel like there was a connection with Carl and Cuckoo, of course, and with Whitemon and Zephyr being together for so long, and just sacrificing that it's a tough decision to make. So again, lots of eyes in that. I think we didn't really touch on it. RSG versus Neon. I mean, that one's a bit strange because Neon's still winners bracket despite being, I believe, relegated out by 2 or 3, going into Division 2 by 2 or 3, and just kind of getting knocked away is pretty hard for the team, but they do have an upper bracket start. I feel like that's an RSG win straight up. Like Neon sometimes surprises you, and I could see them taking a game off, but I think RSG is just so well refined that should probably be a 2-0, but you never know with TI qualifiers. Teams are extra motivated when it comes to these games.
Yeah, that they are. And RSG is one of those teams as well. You kind of not forget about them, but you kind of underestimate them every time, right? That one team where when they're looking good, they're looking impossibly good. They're looking like a TI contender kind of good if they show up today as well. So we're going to find out later. Again, you mentioned that though, Neon, not looking the best as of late, though I do believe they've won a couple tournaments recently, to be fair. So, you got to give them their credit. They've been working on it. We'll see how they perform as well. Because back to this current matchup, which still hasn't gotten underway, by the way. We're still trying to get the game started. Again, Enigma Galaxy, Polaris Esports, you mentioned you like the draft of Polaris a little bit better going into this matchup once again. Going to be hard to see how this one works out. I mean, I think for Alacrity on the Batrider, it's going to be a very tough game considering you are up against that Oracle. Never going to be very easy. You mentioned as well the Oracle versus Ursa matchup is not very fun for the Ursa. Bates Edict is a really busted spell when you're up against Ursa. Just that disarm lasting such a long duration, and it's not like you want to pop in rage to get rid of it. It's one of those spells where it's like, do I really have to pop my ulti just to get rid of this damn Fate's Edict? And even then, even with BKB, it's like you might be willing to pop it because you have to, but you don't want to. And it tends to be a very low cooldown.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to have to deal with that. I don't know, it's not the easiest Ursa game in the world here lined up for In Your Dream. We are blitzing through the drafts. They just need to repick the same bands and repick the same picks, of course. So no surprises there coming through. Fastest draft in the world, though.
Yeah,
Let's
very
go.
fast draft. Got any predictions for this draft, Jonathan? Any heroes you'd like to see pop up?
I think I'd like to see Luna come out here. Oh, and maybe a cheeky little... What was it? I forget. Yeah, there you go. The Mars for Mizu. I even called that last time. Crop and the Ursa.
What are they
there we
laughing
go.
at? Everyone's so happy on NGX.Sea. They just drafted it and suddenly...
for a while.
I mean, it's great to see them laughing. They're clapping and everything. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no. Mizu's pumped up. Joe Cam's having a good giggle. In Your Dream Walgo is laughing up as well. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter why. As long as they're happy, you're good. Maybe they're... I don't know, but they're cheering. There you go. Mizu, a very happy guy. Very good taste in anime as well, Mizu. Mr. Galvin has refined taste. Like Chorus Recoil is a great anime. Mike has no sensibilities. It's about girls and guns.
Yeah.
If I recall right.
You got me at girls, John. I mean, these animes
What's
with these
wrong?
schoolgirls and
Huh?
why am I going to watch an anime about schoolgirls, Jonathan? I'm a grown man. Why am I watching anime about schoolgirls? That's my thing.
Why aren't you? That's a real question. Why aren't you, huh? Too afraid to confront your feminine side? Huh?
Oh, what feminine side?
I know it's not
I'm
even
married,
that feminine, but you know.
I'm married to a woman, Jonathan. Trust me, I have a feminine side. You know?
It's very hard to remember that when we see each other in person, Mike. Your luggage definitely says that. Oh, I've definitely got a feminine side here.
What are you implying, Jonathan? Are you implying that I have to have clean luggage to have a feminine side? Is that what you're
It would
implying?
help with the sense. Well, they say um, that the mindset is much more organized with a more feminine way of thinking. That's one thing to say.
Okay. We'll leave it at that before I get you
suppose.
in trouble, John. Get out of that topic. But game number 2, about to get underway. We do have everything done. The game 2 is starting. John, you know how it is. I'm going to give you time to get your predictions out as well. The viewers want to hear. You were right with every single prediction in that last game.
Wow.
So let's see if you can keep that 100% streak going. What's the predictions for today?
All right, let's get this done. Player with the highest total physical damage done to heroes at game end. I would want to say Natsumi. Total number of player deaths by 25. 16 to 25 sounds right. First player to get 15 denies. Oh, that's a toughie. Lelouch, probably. How long will the game be? Oh, wow, this is hyper specific. 37 to 44. That's it.
Okay. Thank you for that, John. Bit of a smoke on smoke scenario going on here, but just for the warding. No biggie. Neither team probably wants to go for a level 1 team fight. Not the greatest level 1 team fight lineups. See what they do end up doing. I mean, pretty much every game we've seen in this patch has been just go for the bounties and run back to your lanes. We don't get to see much of that team fighty style of starts that we love seeing, sadly. Too
Not
much
as
impact with
much.
these first kills.
Some teams are still fond of it. Polaris is certainly one of those teams that can push the envelope. I feel like the level 1 of NGX is a little bit stronger. They've certainly got more disables on hand. It's much easier to punish. Save is just taking a peek. Up top, you're also kind of taking a peek with AU and Lelouch, but Mizu's not going to hang around for too long. Could be a 3-for-1 here for Polaris if they do force this.
They will try. Boomboy does manage to pick it up, but it's still going to be a 2-for-2 trade. So a very, very even start once again. Again, nobody really wanting to get too involved in an early team fight here. I believe it was only the Marcy that took some damage. Let's start off with that mid lane as we do. Alacrity, of course, going to be on that mid Batrider against Lelouch on the mid Quap. Quap versus Batrider, John. Who has the advantage based off the hero matchups?
We've seen a lot of Batrider players actually run down to Quap here. Quaps are generally apprehensive of going for the early levels in Blink. Lelouch should have a pretty decent time if Alacrity stands too close and doesn't harass enough to play with a Shadow Strike. So he's trading fairly nicely, and both of them are half HP, and Lelouch only has to expend that one use of Shadow Strike, although he has to watch himself. Should be overall a bit easier for Alacrity, but again, the Quap has a little bit of play, but Batrider tends to have a better time.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I suppose you've always got the blink away, though, to be fair, Lelouch hasn't screwed it up yet. In fact, Alacrity going to really give it back to the Queen of Pain. A very fun time, but now with the level 2 mark on Lelouch, he knows he can survive as long as he's got that blink up. Have a look at that top lane, perhaps. Of course, you're going to have Natsumi and AU against Jokam and Mizu. Interesting lane here for Mizu and Jokam. It doesn't seem like the worst lane in the world. Not really too much kill potential here between the Oracle and the Luna, I would argue. Mind you, once you do hit level 3 on the Oracle with the level 2 Purifying Flames, it is a hell of a lot of damage. That's probably going to be your opening. But I dare say NGX.Sea should have more kill potential in the off lane than Polaris does in their safe lane.
Oh, for sure. You feel pretty good here for Mizu. You've got setup from the Shaker if you need to kind of line up your spear. And you've got a pretty good range advantage in the God's Rebuke. Natsumi's attack range is lower than the cast range of God's Rebuke, so you can kind of harass pretty well. No tree line, though, completely cut off. So it is harder to find that latch here from Mizu. And Jokam, once more, on a greedier 4, is just going for the creep pull. You can't really stop it. Jokam just wants to level us up, and that is something the Shaker kind of does. The same way as the Nyx did in the last game. You will want to kind of steal a wave away every now and again.
Yeah. And of course, that final lane, of course, the bottom lane, you're going to have Force there and Xavius against In Your Dream and Boomboy. This lane's an interesting one as well, right? Because it feels like both sides have the kill potential, and there you go. Xavius will make the jump in onto Boomboy. No disruption available for another 3 seconds. Boomboy eventually going to drop. Force able to secure first blood off the back of Xavius with a great initiation.
Yep, you get a nice kill built up for Force. Gets level 3 now.
Uh-oh.
Level 2 Siphon, and In Your Dream can't run if he's not careful.
I just suppose it's very, very well placed in your dream. Still trying to run, barely making it out. Xavius, he wants the kill so bad. He just cannot reach. Now Boom Boy looking to punish the Marcy. Shadow Poison? No, he's not going to throw another one out. He'll let him go. In your dream, to be fair, is going to be stuck on very low HP for a while. Does get handed over the tangos by Boom Boy and does have a salve in the stash right now. As Xavius again trying to punish. We'll go after Boom Boy instead. The Shadow Demon will be able to retreat back towards that T1 bottom tower. But just so much damage is being dealt with this duo on the offlane.
It's really aggressive coming out from Polaris. Lots of play. We've seen this combination multiple times, and there's a reason why DP or Marcy is a first phase ban. Like, you don't want this combo to come out. Polaris does manage to pick it up, and they're putting a big dent on this lane. And your dream is still farming fairly well. So despite the aggression coming out, you're not quite stopping the Ursa from the build-up, but if they do eventually find a kill, that cuts off in your dream scaling a bit.
Here we go again, diving the tier 1 tower, this time Dispose is there, in your dream, trying to Earthshock away, Disruption, no, the rebound, Xavius, he still secures the kill before he dies. This is a disastrous start for the Ursa as mid lane now, they're onto Alacrity on the Batrider. AU rotates on the Oracle to secure the Water Rune, and helps pick up a kill on the Bat.
Yeah, I mean, they find Water Rune on Alacrity, it costs him his life, definitely not worthwhile. Lelouch just gonna have a TP bottle messenger in the form of Xavius. It's gonna be feeling good. Jocam tries to go in early. I mean, you have, again, good rotation potential from the Shaker, but he's still level 2. And you're not quite fully leveled up on Alacrity to bully out. Lelouch has the EXP lead now. Every time he throws Shadow Strike, he's just gonna be able to sustain himself in lane. And as long as he has Blink off cooldown, he's not under any threat here.
Xavius looking for an opportunity in the mid lane to go for a rebound to the Dispose plate. We'll just kind of let it go as they were too close to the tier 1 tower there on Alacrity, and Jocam was actually around to help secure the Water Rune. So the Marcy instead will run down back towards the bottom side as Lelouch now. Thought Jocam might try to go for a Fisher. Problem is Lelouch still has the blink up. He's got enough mana for it. Plenty of stick charges as well. Chances are you are not going to kill off this Queen of Pain. And so poor old Jocam, he's going to run back up towards the top lane as the Shaker. And it's one of those games, considering the bot and the mid lane have kind of already lost, there's really not much for the Shaker to do this game. Not until you hit the mid game now. Right, because for Jocam, he wants to rotate between the top and mid lane to set up kills, but he can't really do a top, he can't do a mid now. And to be frank, Mizu doesn't want him at the top lane anyway. He wants all the XP for himself.
Just wanting to rush into that 6. Does have the double bracer up, so it feels pretty alright for Music to tank. Down bot is where the aggression's there.
Here we go again, Disruption's down. In your dream, gonna try and get some form of a trade onto Force, but their heals are out. In your dream, he cannot man fight against this DP as the Fisher, Jocam trying to help, but they'll just turn again with the sidekick. Here we go, another TP rotation, Alacrity. He'll be around. You've got to find more than Xavius though. Dispose is there. The DP is out, Xavius. He'll happily die for this. He's more than happy to die for this.
I don't think he wanted to die. He was trying to rebound off, but TP was already out from Force, so Xavius is just kind of left for dead. He stood still for a bit. That's him trying to cast that rebound, for sure. And, well, it's not the biggest kill in the world. You drag in the mid-bat rider, you open up so much space in the map, you don't really mind.
Alacrity get held down. AU now going a bit too far. Will get punished. Boom Boy able to take that kill as now they've got the pop locked down. Jocam not going to be able to hold on forever. Lelouch will be just fine to back his way out, remaining at the top of the CS board, right in front of Natsumi. And there's 3 heroes from NGX.Sea in this mid lane to ensure that this Quap doesn't have her way with the Batrider. Lelouch, I mean, he might be keeping up in levels, but you've seen how easy it is once this Marcy does jump in with the rebound. It's just too easy to take him down.
Just so much give coming out, so much damage and control coming out just from Xavius alone. It is getting pretty dicey for NGX. I mean, all top 3 net worth right now on Polaris. It's not a massive amount, just a 1k lead, but the core difference is piling up. And Natsumi, again, he's on a hero that farms fast. Once he dips into the jungle, if you don't contest his farm, he will just ramp up quick. Like, this Luna is just set to have a really good game with no one checking him.
Xavius chasing down In Your Dream. Doesn't have a rebound target to go off.
Radiant's courier.
Lelouch gonna see a courier. We'll take it from Boomboy. X's and pop by force. They'll have a look for Boomboy down at the bot lane. The ghosts, I believe, have spotted him. Boomboy, he's gone. Disruption will be there.
Radiant's bottom tower
Buying himself a little bit of time, but he knows he is set to fall. And will to Lelouch. They take a very easy bottom tier 1 tower on the side of Polaris. NGX.Sea. I mean, it's a very, very difficult start to the game number 2 for them. It seems like every lane has gone the way of Polaris Esports, and as that old saying, John, you win lane, you win game. And right now, they've won all 3 of them.
Yeah, they've certainly gotten that start to build it up. And they've got really good forward wards now from Polaris to cut off the front of that bot jungle. Like 3 wards just watching this entire bot jungle. You do not have any room to farm here. If you're Alacrity or In Your Dream, it's gonna be tough for them to catch up. And In Your Dream still being
again.
stalked.
Yeah, by the tier 2 tower, forcing more rotations. They might actually have him. Mizu, he'll at least pop the arena, allow In Your Dream a way out, and punish Xavius for being in this position as they'll try onto the DP for the Fate's Edict. It's going to be there to try and heal up Force. He'll make a run for it. Spirit Siphon's out as well, but In Your Dream, he will chase him down to the ends of the earth. Force, can he actually make this run? He is trying. Boomboy will hold disruption to make sure no TP attempt is going to be there. Force, still running. There's the disruption. Set up for the kill. Take him out. In Your Dream, that would have felt good. That would have felt real good for the Ursa.
Finally find some revenge onto Force. They dive a little bit too deep onto that tier 1. They do force a lot of bodies down there. Again, freeing up top lane completely. Natsumi's still going to be enjoying this. Mask of Madness already flying out here on the courier. So the flash farm's just going to ramp up even further. And you are giving some room out for Lelouch to just keep playing tag mid. Working onto that Witchblade now on the Quap. It is still a very valuable kill for NGX, but their bot jungle is nowhere near any safer. Still 2 wards watching it. After a little bit of time, Polaris could just rinse and repeat and try again.
Double damage now for Lelouch. It's going to be a very nice pickup here for the Queen of Pain. Meanwhile, just a constant group up around In Your Dream. NGX.Sea really just keeping their supports around the Ursa, not allowing any opportunity for Polaris to move into that triangle. Even this early on, they're just that concerned about this Ursa having a bad game. Make sure In Your Dream does remain protected. Boomboy, he'll put his body forward to make sure any smoke is broken, and he's the one to take the gank. Of course, Alacrity on that Batrider, we talked about it already, but considering the laning start he's had, he's got nothing. Brown boots, bottle, windlace. That's about it. I think there's maybe a boots of travel coming out, and there is, so he's got the recipe on the way. But it's still going to be a very, very slow start for Alacrity, and you're not going to be able to rely on him to set the pace of the game here for NGX.Sea. It doesn't really feel like anyone can really set the pace right now.
I think they've got to just work together as a unit. Maybe they can play off the back of Mizu and the threat of Arena. They are clumping up top. 3 heroes here to secure this push for the siege creep. Force is the only one showing up to try to defend. They already have a rough idea that he's there. Not going to be able to do much by himself. Does look at least find a tier 1 to trade. Fortified to stall out a little bit more. And there is a smoking flank here.
Xavius, Lelouch gonna make their way over. Joe Cam, he's the only one showing. He does have Echo, but he'll get stunned up immediately. Dispose is there. Joe Cam, he could pop the ulti, but there's just no point. It won't do enough damage, and nobody's there to back him up. So another free kill to go the way of NGX.Sea. Only positive being you do force a lot of rotations from Polaris up towards that top lane. But it seems like they want to go for the top tier 1 tower anyway. They have Exorcism up for Force.
They pop it. Not going to take too long to rip through that objective side of NGX, and they're not quite ready for a fight back. They're rushing this blink on Mizu. He's only about 40 gold away, but you don't want to take these engagements without that. You just want that clean initiation come true, and at least we'll be up soon. So sacrifice a tower to get that space out, but they should smoke off the back of that.
Shout out to the boys and girls in production as well, Jonathan. Beautiful cam there on Natsumi. Keeping tabs of all the ancient stacks being farmed. This is every carry player's dream. Just to be able to sit there just farming. Oh, look at that. Even Xavier's TPing for a sidekick. What a support. You love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten so much room. They've left him alone for so long. There's no forward wards here from NGX. They can't stop that flash farm. Very reminiscent of Game 1. from Natsumi with the Nagasaran. He's just got all the room you could possibly hope for. 6.9k net worth, 3k above, almost 3k above In Your Dream, around about 2k. In Your Dream's also trying to go for a farming build as well, going into the Battle Fury for the Ursa. I mean, if he expects a longer game, that can pay off, but that will stall the spikes and any play you can get from that pause 1.
I don't think they're intending on trying to fight anytime soon here in NGX.Sea. The Battle Fury seems just fine this time around. It's the thing, right? Like, you've got to try and contest the farm of the Luna. The Fusel Blade probably not going to do enough this game, that's for sure. Considering how the lanes went, like, you're 5k behind, you need something. Alacrity, he needs so much time. He needs a BKB, he needs the Aether Lens, he needs the Blink. Force, top lane, is going to be there to defend the top tier 1 tower. It is very low in terms of HP, but he's still going to stick around. He's going to make sure they don't have an easy time taking it. And In Your Dream, he's not going to even try. He wants his Battle Fury up. He wants to hit that timing. He'll play it very safe and go right back to that Radiant Triangle.
And once he does have the Battle Fury, the farm pace can pick up, but I don't know, it's just like you're trying to equalize with a Luna who's already above you by nearly 3k. And like, it just feels like at this point you should just try to play around the timing of your Batrider and your Mars and connect with that. So have some earlier presence. At this rate, they're going to have to play like almost a 4v5 once they are ready to go on NGX's side. They've had this blink on Mizu for a while, but they haven't really grouped around the potential arenas. They seem satisfied with just playing like this, but they're not out farming at all. Like, as time passes on, you are just passively losing in terms of net worth here. Like, you are going to be directly above a Natsumi.
That's the thing. NGX, it doesn't feel like they can. They don't think they can fight at the very least. That's what it feels like. Polaris. They're going to set up again. Here's that mid-tier 1 tower. Lelouch going to jump in. Alacrity, he's in big trouble. On this Batrider, he's gone. Mizu trying to TP to help out with the arena. Now they found the Ursa. Oh, you might need that arena now. Mizu, he'll pop it down defensively, but it's not going to be enough. He's gone, and now Mizu goes down. And I think that's why they weren't fighting. Because they just get ripped a new one here, John. Under the Shaker, they found Jocam. That'll be another. It happens that quick. Triple kill for Force. It's just all off the back of the laning stage. You lose 3 lanes, this is what's going to happen.
It just feels like a waste. You got this blink timing in Mizu. You shouldn't be playing passively. Like, it's not that they shouldn't be fighting at all. They should be avoiding initiated first. And you have the best shot if you jump in, maybe catch a support or 2, even if you only catch one in arena. As long as you find some pickoffs, that's your way back. You go back to farming in the interim period, and you build up. And if you allow Polaris to play this game as they have been, they just get to dictate.
Lasso's out. Lelouch, he's messed up. He used the blink. Alacrity, he'll find a pretty big pick-off here. Your Dream will be very thankful about that one. There you go. That's what you just talked about. You've just got to make the initiations yourself here on the side of NGX.Sea. So they are looking down towards that bot side. Polaris looking to defend the bottom tier 1 tower now. But there are 5 heroes around. Mizu doesn't have arena, but he does go for a spear back. In fact, never mind. The Fish is there to set up. There's your spear back. Even the ulti being committed by Boomboy just to make sure. Hell, they'll commit the Echo. They are not risking anything.
They've got to find every single pickoff. And those are pretty big pickoffs. They can line up for the bot tier 1 if they really want to commit. Polaris are the ones that are just kind of spread out now. They do manage to hit this BKB timing on Natsumi though, and that's pretty big in the next engagement they might take when Eclipse is back off cooldown. Tower to take for NGX, their first tower to find on the map. Not the biggest in the bot tier 1, but certainly some much needed gold coming out for their side. Gold that will help build into Jocamp's Blink, build into the BKB of Alacrity. Every little thing won. Every little kill counts. Still, Roche opened up for Polaris, and after seeing all that commitment on bot, they know they have nothing to be scared of. Slam's on cooldown, Lasso's on cooldown. You've got all the damage in the world from Natsumi. They don't even need to pop the Exo for this.
Very easy Roshan, that's for sure. Natsumi, he's been just free farming the whole game. Now he's free farmed the Roshan. Off they go again. I think the key for Polaris, they must realize at this point, if we just stick as a team, they can't fight us. Unless it's the absolute perfect initiation, and even then,
Dire's bottom tower
very
is
hard to
under
see it. Line's being drawn back up towards the top lane here. Polaris might even get started on that top tier 2 tower. They'll control the Radiant Triangle. They have Exorcism up if they want to pop it here for the tier 2.
is under attack.
It just doesn't seem like they need it. I highly doubt
No.
they're thinking about high ground yet, but with the BKB on this Luna and Exorcism up, maybe you might
I
consider
can't
it.
fault them for thinking. They're so far ahead. They know that the Ursa is a non-factor right now. I mean, In Your Dream does have the Battle Fear. He's finding some farm. He is going into the Blink. That could allow a little bit more play. But
Dire's middle tower
it
is under
still
attack.
doesn't feel like a massive threat onto Natsumi. They smoke out, they TP away, maybe try to find a pick off for the rest that are left behind, and Xavius, Force, and AU. But no one's showing just yet. Alacrity is farming forward part of the jungle here, though.
They are. In Your Dream, meanwhile, bottom lane, having a look at Natsumi, but he's going to back off to the tree line while the rest of his team do start to connect down to that bot lane. In Your Dream, Boom Boy, they're not in position to break the smoke properly. Force, he'll move his way in. Boom Boy, he'll try to tank the gank, but Xavius is on the chase for In Your Dream, looking for that dispose. Is he going to be able to find him? In Your Dream will go for the man fight. Xavius, somehow still alive, pops a sidekick. In Your Dream, getting kited in and
Oh
out,
my
is going
God.
to drop. Way too quick. Is Alacrity. Oh, he's going to
Oh,
get
no.
caught. No.
Dire's
That's a triple.
is under attack.
Natsumi. He's now farming heroes, John. Creeps have got boring for him.
Dire's
Way too boring. There's a little flick from Xavius. He just popped sidekick, unleash, got one round of unleash off, and he just did so much damage. AU comes in with a false promise, stays alive. They don't even lose their supports there. Exo is gone, but you have a Luna. A push does not take long. Sidekick gives you basically double damage here.
It certainly does. Natsumi onto that high ground. So far ahead when it comes to net worth. Aegis up for another 2.5 seconds. Is going to back though. Maybe the tier 2 mid tower should be the objective here for Polaris. Still in the outer tower standing. Outpost taken.
are scanning.
You can get the tier 2 mid and you can still go high ground. You've got two and a half minutes basically on the Aegis. Plenty of time here for Polaris to try and really get full value out of this Aegis. NGX.Sea, they want to try and force the fight though. They use that glyph. They don't want a high ground defense right now. Mizu needs that perfect initiation, but the
Oh.
rebound is there immediately. Disruption will buy a bit of time. Xavius looking for the dispose, not going to find it. Mizu, he's all right. Problem is, Natsumi, he could not give a crap about what's happening around him. He just continues to push in that tier 2 tower. Heals constantly flying out from AU, so he's always healthy.
Is under attack.
There's a tier 2
Radiant's
gone.
middle tower has
They will
fallen.
not stick around for the tier 3 towers. Instead, it's back up towards the top lane. Address that lane. And maybe even find In Your Dream if he's not careful. But he will TP out immediately.
Plays it safe. Alacrity is showing though. Does have the travels ready. It's only Xavier's really around here. But not going to be able to find that kill opportunity. 7 to 13, 10k lead out for Polaris. Natsumi having a wild time on the Luna. Again, very reminiscent of game 1 and his Naga, just how much space was given out. Manta style already done. BKB for In Your Dream is almost there. And that could be the timing where you can have more play. Alacrity as well is also working onto that BKB. It looks like his should be finished up though. So you should have at least 2 cores that can jump in without too much of a care. I believe Mizu is very close to his, just lacking the recipe now. And once you've got that triple BKB timing, that might be enough to catch Natsumi off guard. Like the physical output of the Luna isn't quite bursty yet. It's very good in prolonged fights, but it's not like you have a Daedalus up, it's not like you have a Butterfly or Satanic. You don't want to try to sustain yourself through the spell immune heroes. So NGX will have an opening once the triple BKBs are done.
That they may, John. That they may. Certainly something they need, that's for sure. Polaris. Still controlling that Radiant side jungle. GXC, 11k behind, but they are finding a bit of farm on this Ursa. I still think the kiting is an issue, but like you mentioned, with the BKB up, maybe not so much of an issue anymore. Once it is up, that is. Because he is even working on towards the blink straight after. Does buy out the full BKB now on that Ursa. And once you've got the blink up, then I think they can really start to get active.
Under attack.
It's Alacrity. Does get spotted by Natsumi, but of course we'll make a run for it. Doesn't want to deal with the Luna at the moment. There's that secondary BKB on the Mars as well. Mizu will buy one out. And props to NGX, John. They're doing a fantastic job of just avoiding Polaris altogether. Polaris move all across the map back up towards the Dire jungle. And NGX immediately TP and smoke out again. Trying for a sneak maneuver. Into the mid lane they go. It's a smoke on smoke situation. Who ends up striking first, though, is the question.
Smoke fades on Polaris. Don't have a re-smoke here as well. NGX are taking their time though.
Polaris still holding that high ground. They're waiting very patiently. Fisher is there. That's a big target. Spear is back. Even Lasso being committed onto this DP. Where's the follow-up force?
What?
He's still fine. He'll pop the BKB. Where was the damage? They at least found Lelouch. In fact, in your dream, he's doing a lot of damage now. False Promise will be there, though. Force is going to survive through it. At least for now. They will keep charging forward. Polaris ultimately end up losing that fight. A 1-for-1, but you lost the quap for a Mars. NGX, they'll be satisfied with that one, I think.
It's a good pickup to take. NGX also did not pop as many ultimates as you'd expect. Lasso and Arena are down, but so is Exorcism, so is Supreme, the Sonic Wave. The False Promise is gone. Eclipse is still handy here on Natsumi. You do have yourself a little bit of an opening, at the least, especially once Mizu respawns. That could be the window where they choose to play. However, BKBs are down. I think that will lead to future caution for NGX in that next engage. Alacrities is up, and he is close to the blink. So that blink timing on the Bat Rider is going to be the next big one. It looked like a pretty good angle for NGX. They get the spear back into the lasso. It's just In Your Dream was cut off. Like, he did not manage to jump in, and without that physical burst on the Ursa, you aren't taking care of something like the DP at this point. Force is just way too tanky.
Yeah. Well, Lelouch, at least it does get caught out, and that's still a big pick-off here for NGX.Sea. Alacrity forces out the bot lane, immediate TP out. He just wants to see the TP back from Force. This has bought plenty of time now. In Your Dream, getting closer to that Blink Dagger timing. Again, that's going to solve a lot of the problems he's having with that kiting. Just being able to jump right onto the target he wants, which is probably going to be the Oracle to get started. But if you can find something like the Quap or the Luna, it's even better. See if it does pay off for him. I mean, this is something he desperately needs right now. As Polaris, they do hold on to that 9k advantage. Going to be very cautious now not to throw it back the other way, though. As we saw in that last team fight, NGX, they are certainly not out of it yet.
No, they've got a little bite left. And their power spikes are sort of lining up now. And they have yet to reveal certain things. Like Jokam has his blink. So you've got the blink slam. Another smoke out from the side of NGX. BKBs are ready to go once more. So this could be the opening they want.
Skadi's up, though. This is awkward timing now. Natsumi's got a decent spike on himself on the Luna. In Your Dream, he'll pick up the blink with that creep wave being taken down. Scan is not going to be there yet. Natsumi, he'll group up with his team. They'll run right towards that Radiant Triangle through the river. NGX, they've got a high ground advantage. This could be the team fight they want. But Polaris, they decide better of it. Back into the mid lane they go. GX just really wanting to have that perfect position. One team fight is all it takes to turn this game number 2 around. Especially with a Roshan in a minute.
They just need that opening. They've got good wards here. They know where Polaris has run off to near the pit, so they can always check if a sneaky Roche does come out, unless Polaris expends the smoke to get into that area. They will smoke up now, so maybe they'll be able to find the angle here.
Perhaps it's going to be a long wraparound once again. Trying to sneak into that Radiant Triangle from the back through the top lane. Oh, this could be successful as well. NGX.Sea, they're not in position for this. Mizu, he might break the smoke, but no, they see him first. They haven't broken the smoke yet. Force, he does have his own smoke broken. Mizu, oh, he doesn't know. He'll pop the BKB. He'll go for a TP up. He's gonna be okay. That's Exorcism completely wasted. Roshan's up in 30 seconds. Exorcism is down now. That's a big win for the Radiant.
Yeah, but you don't have BKB on Mizu. It's a trade-off here.
Nice Fate's Edict. AU gonna buy himself a little bit of time in the middle of this team fight as they do make the jump in. In Your Dream gonna try and take care of him, but a big Sonic Wave out. Lelouch right through 3. AU's gonna buy back into the team fight. And Alacrity is down on that Batrider, and In Your Dream's in big trouble. Getting taken down by Lelouch. Mizu, he's not out of the woods yet either. Lelouch, he'll keep chasing. Boom Boy, TP up, we'll make it. But now Roshan's up. Xavius and Natsumi, they ignored the team fight. They went right for the Roshan. They just had trust in their teammates to make that one work. That's unfortunate, John. That's without the exorcism. They still end up losing it.
Yeah, it wasn't even a factor. And I think the big issue was that Mizu was so far away from that fight when they went for the lasso. They didn't manage to play with the arena. They didn't manage to get anyone caught out and pulled back. And now Polaris have a pretty good angle onto the high ground. There is still the slam for the high ground defense here from NGX. So you're not completely out of it. There are some plays to be made. Arena's still ready to go on Mizu as well. So you can certainly find an opening. It's just the game's very difficult to get that done now. 9-17, 15k lead. Natsumi has not been killed at all. 4-0-4. His farm's just ramped up like a madman, and the Ursa is just nowhere close. Even with that battle fear, he's been forced to fight around, and he's just not doing enough.
Mizu, BKB forced out. He'll go for a TP attempt and is going to be fine. They don't have the Luna around to really get that damage they needed. Natsumi currently focused on the mid creep wave, just trying to get towards that high ground. Aegis is up. You definitely want to try and approach that high ground right now if you can, if you're Polaris. Exorcism, it's going to be up in 15. So good timing.
Yeah, timing's lining up. You do have the lasso ready on Alacrity. You've got the arena ready, so the defense is kind of set for the side of NGX as long as they connect together.
Natsumi. Fisher. Oh, that's a really cheeky dodge from Natsumi. That's little Mac to dodge on that Fisher. It's a tier 3 tower. Gonna melt quite fast, but the glyph will be forced out. Natsumi, you'll get a reset here from AU. Beauty of having the Oracle right behind you. He's just gonna bring you right back up to max HP. Boom Boy. All he can really do is go for that disruption. Fisher out once again. Alacrity looking for a lasso. Does find one on the Luna. Drag him all the way back into those tier 4 towers. That'll be the first life gone. Polaris, they are forced to fight now. This Luna is in dire straits as Natsumi's going to pop the Eclipse and the BKB and run. And with the false promise, they actually just retreat. AU, he's the one to get caught up by In Your Dream, and they'll leave him behind. Just let him die. Get everyone else out of there. And that they will.
Yeah, they fully retreat with a successful defense out from NGX. They lose a tier 3, but they stop the racks from falling, which is the key part, because Luna just melts through those racks so quick and can just open up way more objectives after the tier 3 falls. Xavier still with the invis.
Where are they going? Xavius, I suppose, is there. Alacrity pops the BKB. Look at the damage with this unleash. Run, Alacrity, run! Sonic Wave, oh, it's right on the edge. There you go. There's your Batrider down for 50.
And that should give Polaris enough time to just kind of reset. Same thing goes for NGX. They've been very patient in Jokam. He's not gone for any of these big slam plays. So that threat of the Echo Slam is still always available on the side of NGX. For Polaris in their part, when they've got the full Linken's on Natsumi, lassoing him back is going to be tougher, although you do have Linken's break up the wazoo here from Boomboy, so you shouldn't be too worried about that. Lots of single target spells to ensure Alacrity has a connection. But they need to coordinate more. Like, they do pull back single target hero as well, and they can pull and relocate one of these cores from Polaris away from the front line and punish, but everyone else is just kind of free to do what they want. You've got the full AC up on Lelouch, a lot tankier. Even the Ursa's not going to be able to instantly burst him down. AU's been on point with the healing, and if there's anyone that sacrificed, it's almost always just him. Basher up on In Your Dream. That should mean that you've got some more play through the BKBs of Polaris on their side.
Dire's bottom
But
tower is under
as long as AU manages to land a Fate's Edict, you're still not going to be feeling good there on that Ursa. Like, the disarm's just always going to be annoying, especially as your BKB's already down to 6 seconds here.
Polaris, they are still controlling the map very, very well. 16k advantage.
is under attack.
And NGX just waiting for the high ground defense to come. Polaris, they're in no rush. They'll wait for the next Roshan by the looks of it. Still plenty of time away, but nothing wrong with playing conservatively here when you control the whole map. And you've got a Luna of all things, so you can just farm the whole map. NGX, do they venture out of this base? Do they have to really wait that long? At least Jokam's trying to push out the top lane while he has a chance on that shaker. But the only person who can, actually will do the same down at bot lane of the Bat Rider, but yeah, just a lot of hesitation. They're very scared to show on the map at the moment.
Yeah, I think they just know that Polaris are that far ahead. They know if they take unnecessary risks, the game could just end with how fast the Luna can rip through racks into tier 4s. They might just skip the process of mega creeps here on the side of Polaris. Jokam's been doing a good job of cutting off without being punished though. And he does just blink and TP away. Roche still 2.5 minutes. And that waiting game for NGX still has continued. I mean, they've got some big items to wait for. Refresh on Mizu could be nice, although let's be careful.
Mizu, BKB up, he does have TP and he will commit it. And without the Luna being around, you don't have the right click damage to get through him through that BKB, but now Alacrity also being spotted. Another exorcism being popped by Force, but he doesn't seem too happy about this one. It does feel a little bit wasted. So Polaris, they might have to try and force the mid-racks once again because you did pop that ulti. Force will try. Range Rax is going down rather quick. Mizu, nice spear back in your dream. He'll make the jump in. AU's there. The Force Promise once again going to keep Force perfectly fine as he just rushes right in. Mizu's down already. AU the one to take him out. Force with the Oracle right behind him. He's kind of unkillable. You just can't control him. Alacrity. Oh, Lincoln's broken with the lasso. You needed the lasso. He is down for a minute without buyback as In Your Dreams jumped in. There's your Echo Slam. It does literally no damage. No damage. The Fate's Edict was there from AU. In we go again. Boom Boy, he'll get caught out. This is it. GG's called. In Your Dream, he has seen enough. NGX, they are not out of the qualifiers yet, but they are going to get knocked down to the lower bracket. And Polaris Esports looking fantastic in their first best of 3 series, taking a 2-0 victory against NGX.Sea. And John, can I just say once again, AU has really impressed me today. This guy has been playing out of his mind.
Yeah, he has certainly stepped up as a player. Maybe in the start of Div 3, Div 2 Tour 3, it looked a little bit shaky in Tour 3 when he stood in for a little bit, but he's certainly in his element now. His heroes are in the meta. He saves in a very big way. And Polaris as a whole just shows massive improvements past the DPC. Again, this is a team that managed to drag Boom through 5 grueling games in Hatyai in Thailand. And they managed to get a pretty decent run in the ESL 1 qualifiers. This is a team that is now a contender. This is almost like Polaris back in Tour 1 or Tour 2 when they look very promising. And I think you have to watch out if you are going up against Polaris. NGX, for their part, I mean, it's been a rocky road for them since the end of the DPC. It doesn't look like a lot of their issues have been sorted out, and we can see our scoreboard right here. Just how well Polaris played. They had a really free game on Natsumi. I don't think he died at all in this game and the last. I mean, he died once in the last game. So 1 death overall across these 2 games in the series. Had a fantastic time. Everyone in Polaris playing so well. Like, Force on the DP just held his lane in this DP game and his Primal Beast game. They all just connected well together.
Yeah. And again, I really do want to give props to our Oracle here because just so many initiations were just foiled by this man. Yeah, lassos, just false promises. We saw Jokam, that last team fight, going for an Echo. There was a Fate's Edict reaction immediately out onto Natsumi to make sure he took literally no damage. It was a very rough affair. And, I mean, as a squad, obviously, Polaris Esports have done it together and looked fantastic. But you've got to give props to the man that has made a bit of a comeback in the pro scene. He's been looking real darn great.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost like Seb's journey, right? Like he steps back, becomes a coach, comes in as a player after a coach. Same thing with AU. He was coaching them for a while. The results weren't great. We can take a look at our brackets here as we do have the updates. Talon is up against Polaris now in the winner's bracket round 2 with this win for Polaris. And of course, Lilligun is going to have to face up against Army Geniuses. NGX.Sea will have to play against Xerxia. So that's going to be an interesting one because we haven't really seen the side of Xerxia play against any of these Div 1 or former Div 1 teams. That should be a pretty interesting matchup to really test Xerxia there.
Yeah, I mean, they made it look easy against TNT Predator. See what they can do against NGX.Sea in that lower bracket. Of course, we do have 2 more series for SCA coming up tonight. We did talk about this a little bit earlier, but we've got RSG against Neon and, of course, Execration up against T1, which is the one everyone's waiting for. Everyone wants to see the debut of this new roster for T1. I can't wait to see how it pans out as well, Jonathan. It's a very, very exciting night of Dota. And don't forget, Western Europe starts as well tonight.
Yeah, a lot of action left. 2 of the most competitive regions are still yet to get underway. Keen to see how Western Europe also shakes up with the favorites from Enigma Europe. Secret there, Liquid, a lot of big names that will have to battle out, of course. In Southeast Asia, still have that series following up. We will have a caster switch up there. I believe we'll have Ares and Danog for that one, but that'll be a bit in a short while there, Mike.
It will be. We're gonna head off to a short break because we need one, and right after that break, we're gonna be back with the lovely Ares and Danog to take over for tonight for the last 2 series of the night. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a short break.